G'day guys, welcome back to Mango Invest. We're going to do a basic analysis into Phillip Morris International, the old tobacco company, but now, they're transforming into an e-cigarette company. So all the vapes, very popular amongst, the younger generation. Even more adults are getting onto this. So they say, we are building, Phillip Morris International's future on a smoke-free product that, while not risk-free, it's a better choice than cigarette smoking. So as you see there, the current portfolio still consists of the cigarettes, but also the smoke-free products, including heated tobacco, the vapes, and then some other sort of smokeless products. All right, but let's move straight into what the important thing is. So they've got a good starting portfolio yield of 5.49%. Right, with a growth rate of 3.55%. That's on the lower end. Okay, so that's something I'd look there, and I wouldn't be too interested in straight away. But the thing here, they've got 14 years of dividend growth. Okay, now that actually draws my attention. 14 years of consistent dividend growth is what you want to see. And as you can see there, they're a quarterly paying dividend company. All right, so overall, it doesn't actually look too bad so far. Let's take a little bit of a deeper dive in. Let's check out the dividend history now. Up the top here, you can see consecutive years of dividend payments, 14 years. And of those 14 years, they've been growing that dividend consistently. Okay, so that's looking good. Now look at all the dividend history. You can see, that nice progression. Every single financial year they're increasing that dividend. Right, and here's all the quarter. So in 2021 they're paying $1.25. 2022 $1.27. Okay, so although it's not rising that much, it is still growing. Now let's just click the dividend growth tab just to see how much they're actually growing that by. Now, if you scroll down here, the dividend growth, every single year, that nice slow linear progression, and then every single year. Okay, so it is on the lower end. Say for example, in 2017, they've upped it by 2%, 2018, 6%, and then consistently from 2 to 3% then on in. So it's more on the lower end, but the key point to take away here, at least they are paying that consistent dividend, but they're also growing it as well. Right, so that's good for Phillip Morris there. All right, so with Seeking Alpha, with the basic dividend sort of analysis there, it's looking pretty good. Now let's look at the financial statements here. So looking at the revenues, all right, so the big key indicator here, so from 2015, they've had a massive drop in revenue. Okay, so from first glance, it looks pretty bad. Although when you look at the cost of goods sold, that's also reduced as well. So they're getting so much revenue, but the cost of that revenue is also low. Okay, so then when you move into the gross profit overall, you can actually see a growing company in terms of profit, which will increase their sort of cash flow there. So key point here is just looking at the revenue and seeing that massive drop, that might sort of deter you as well from buying a company, but always take into consideration the cost of the goods sold and come to a conclusion of the gross profit and see how they're looking there. Let's have a look at the earnings per share and then see that's also growing as well. All right, so and it's even beating the 2013 and 2015 levels as well. So with all the they've dropped a lot of their tobacco products and now they're moving into the e-cigarettes or the vapes. You can see that the profit margins are actually pretty good. All right, moving on to the balance sheet, let's have a look at the cash on hand. Okay, it's a little bit volatile there. Moving on to the total assets. All right, so $61 billion assets and total liabilities $67 billion. So they've got more liabilities than assets. So not a good look for Phillip Morris there. And the assets are a little bit sort of volatile here. The liabilities, a massive increase in 2022. They've probably had a couple of acquisitions. Who knows? Moving on to the cash flow statement. All right, so cash flow from operating activities. Yeah, that's it's not declining. It's not looking too bad. And the capex, sitting at around $1 billion. So making the free cash flow $9 billion for the previous year. It seems to be growing as well. It's not too bad. Net cash flow, a little bit volatile there. And looking down at the dividend payments, as we can see on Seeking Alpha just before, the consistent dividends. This is showing the common stock dividends paid out to the investors, and it's in line with what Seeking Alpha is saying. So overall, this is how Phillip Morris is trading so far. So current share price of $92. Back in 2020 it was $72. 2022, we've reached a high of $111. Right, so it's now sitting within that sort of mid-range. And as you can see there, it's got that starting dividend yield of 5.51%. So overall, would I invest in Phillip Morris International? Probably not. The thing that gets me, at first glance, I thought it was a terrible company that didn't make any profit just because it was cigarettes. I don't personally smoke. But now after looking at the data on Seeking Alpha, that's looking pretty consistent with the 14 years of dividend growth. But then looking at the financials of the company, we've had a drop in revenue, but the cost of the goods sold was also dropped in line with that revenue. So therefore, the gross profit is growing, but they're consistently paying out that dividend. So it's actually not as bad as what I thought, with a good starting dividend yield of 5%. So personally, would I buy Phillip Morris? Not really. The thing that gets me is the dividend growth rate only being 2 to 3% for the 5 years. I definitely think there's other companies such as Jeppy, SCHD, Coca-Cola, McDonald's that are also quarterly paying dividend companies that grow their dividend a lot more. So although it wouldn't be the worst investment, there's also definitely better investments out there. But definitely let me know what your analysis on Phillip Morris International would be. I'll be keen to hear that. But as always, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you did like the content, and I'll catch you next time.